Hello, this is Matthew with Technomicon Media. Welcome to this video edition where we're going to be looking at Dragon Age 2 gameplay and features. Here we have character creation, and of course, just as in Dragon Age Origins, you can pick from a warrior, mage, or rogue. Players are no longer able to select between the other races that were in Origins, of course, dwarves and elves, which I was a little disappointed by, but I found that there was still plenty of content to explore with just this one race, mainly just with the classes that you can choose from. And it's entirely possible they'll bring these other races back as playable characters in future DLCs or expansions. The first feature I want to touch upon is the new way inventory and crafting is handled in Dragon Age 2. For those that remember Dragon Age Origins, inventory and the lack thereof was pretty problematic and was fixed per a downloadable content purchase that you had to make. In addition to unlimited inventory via the residence location, the player has access, of course, to an enchanting station run by none other than Sandal from Dragon Age Origins, but also a writing desk where new quests and plots are picked up, as well as a potion making station, a rune making station, and a station to make bombs and poisons as well. I do like this change primarily because players no longer have to spend excessive amounts of talent points just to learn how to craft basic components of the game. Rune, potion, and poison crafting recipes are found throughout the game off of monsters or chests. And the same goes for the ingredients to make these potions, runes, and poisons. They're now all basically drops. Runes specifically no longer drop in their made format. They're now produced the same way potions and poisons were. One last thing regarding crafting and crafting ingredients is that they're no longer stored in the player's inventory. Once an ingredient is found, it's stored in the crafting UI, so that's going to free up a lot of inventory for players. And here we have the character selection UI. For those that are familiar with Dragon Age Origins, it's pretty much the same deal. Aside from character-related plots, you can select any composition of party, and keep in mind that based on the composition of your party, friendships and rivalries will change pretty dramatically based on what quests you're undertaking. As far as characters go in Dragon Age 2, the two from previous installments is Isabella, seen on the left-hand side. She was in Dragon Age Origins as a non-playable character that taught the main character how to become a duelist, and then Anders, who's on the far right, was your caster from Awakenings. And of course, just as in previous installments of Dragon Age, the main character cannot be deselected from the party. She will or he will always be there. And here we have the main map for Dragon Age 2. It's deceptively small. When I first encountered the game, I was a little taken aback and was afraid this was going to be a similar experience to how Awakening seemed a little bit on the short side. But the map's got a lot of content to it. Don't let the single view fool you. And here you can see there's a day and night version as well as an expanded version for wilderness territories. And I wanted to go briefly into the DLC and bonus content for Dragon Age 2. Even though the game is pretty brand spanking new, there's already some DLC content that comes with at least my version of the game. I'm assuming it might be time-based in terms of the promotion for it. The main thing in Black Emporium, which is the DLC package that my copy of Dragon Age 2 came with, is that it gives players a means to respec, which is pretty big, and I'm sure that players like myself will be using this quite often. Another very nice feature of the Black Emporium is that the player can change their appearance. It's pretty cosmetic, but if you decide that you want to look differently, you just go over to this mirror and select it. And as you can see, here comes the appearance UI modification, and this is where you would do it. One of the biggest changes for me in Dragon Age 2 was the way talent trees are handled. It seems like there's more options and more flexibility in terms of how a player wants to spend their talent points as they level up. Uh, no longer do you have singular path talent trees, where it was just a straight line across. These are actually branching trees with multiple abilities that can be spent in a variety of different manners, which really appealed to me in terms of its flexibility and just you could go a lot of different directions with it. And of course, using the Black Emporium, if you didn't like something, you could respec and try over again. This is Varric, who plays a major role in the plot. I'm not going to give any of that away, but I'll just leave it as he is a major figure in Dragon Age 2. Here we have the main plot characters talent tree, which is slightly different in the aspect that they are not pre-specialized into any specific discipline. You get those at periodic intervals of levels, where you get a specialty point at level 7 and another one at level 14. These specialty points are used to further enhance your character. In the case of a rogue, you can specialize between a duelist, an assassin, or a shadow. In Dragon Age 2, there's a complex system of friendships and rivalries between the main character and the supporting cast or characters. Basically, friendships and rivalries in previous installments of Dragon Age gave the player pretty ho-hum buffs. I mean, they were good, but they were not very plot-oriented. For example, the plot-oriented buff that Aveline gives the main character is a damage sharing buff, where she now takes a portion of the main character's damage to herself and, in a sense, protects the main character in her role as the tank. Players are also rewarded for deep rivalries between themselves and the supporting characters and receive buffs from those types of situations as well. And here we have combat in Dragon Age 2, controlling at the moment Isabella. Combat in Dragon Age 2 is remarkably similar to that of Dragon Age Origins and of course Awakenings. The main difference is in tactics. For those that are familiar with tactics, tactics are of course back again in Dragon Age 2, and for those not familiar with tactics in Dragon Age, that's how you assign behaviors for your playable characters. And the main difference in tactics being the abundance of tactic slots and the lack of needing to spend talent points to gain them. Another big change to Dragon Age 2 is in character interactions, specifically chat interactions, and now the character morality is clearly depicted on the chat wheel, as seen here, between good and joking and angry. And here we have the achievement UI for Dragon Age 2, and there's quite a number of achievements, most of which you'll gain without even trying. And what I mean by that is if you just play the game through, you'll gain many of these achievements, some being much more difficult than others, some being based on what decisions you make in a given playthrough, and some are just not possible to be done with one playthrough, just based on multiple choices that will need to be made throughout the campaign. So the achievement system certainly gives players a much greater longevity in terms of playtime and interest. If that's what you're into, being a completionist, then Dragon Age 2 certainly has a lot of fun things for you. For the full article review on Dragon Age 2, visit us at www.technomicon.com. And once again, this is Matthew with Technomicon Media saying thank you for watching.